All right, welcome. Good to geek out. Good place to go to geek out. We're here to cover the end of The Boys, season one. Finally, trying to get to season two and a lot of other things. Here with for my boys on the afterglow of the Dodgers winning the championship. Editor San Antonio.
Damn right. Damn right.
Boba Fresh, San Francisco, representing LA.
Big G, a.k.a. Nino Breezown, West Hills, Cali.
Glenn coming from Washington.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Ratchet J coming here from Los Angeles, California. But go Dodgers, though. I love it. I love it.
I'm just gonna say
yeah.
that now that's two championships already, right? Like that's the Lakers championship and that's the Dodgers championship. The pressure's on the Rams and the Clippers, right? I mean, the Clippers are gonna fail fantastically, but at least the Rams might have a shot.
So, The Boys, episode 7, second to the last. We get a little background on the Butcher, don't we? More than we did before. We get that nice visual of him and his wife and everything that's gone wrong. I think the theme of these episodes would be repercussions. It's a lot of things you see that have happened in previous episodes. Stuff like the Butcher's wife that we're not even aware of till this moment, where we're feeling all the repercussions of all of these actions that have happened before in these last two episodes. Definitely are just vibrations of that. Anything you guys?
Repercussions and revelations.
Yeah, leading to revelations sometimes. Any one of those revelations or repercussions you guys would like to identify immediately off the bat?
I'm loving English minor, cinema major ed. This is some of my favorite shit right here.
Thank you.
I'm gonna hop right to the Nino Brown and discussion of the Carter type Inquisition by Homelander, where the only thing was missing was everybody in all black and his pit bull. as he walks around the table, right? Who did it? Don't nobody know nothing? He's got all of the info, right? And a few of our discussions ago, I was talking about Queen Maeve, and I said I didn't have much to say about her then, but this scene, right? She actually steps up, and for one of the first people to actually be able to talk Homelander off the ledge. That was pretty dope. There's a giant cat. Anyway, so that was pretty dope. That's my favorite up to this point. That's my favorite Queen Maeve moment. Is that she actually was able to talk Homelander off the edge. That fool had the eyes glowing and everything. And we know typically when the eyes start glowing, somebody's getting cut, right? She talked him off the ledge. He revealed a whole lot about Starlight.
Dude, you talk about them eyes glowing. That beginning of episode 7, when he goes in to take out the quote unquote terrorists. And he does the most terroristic acts I've ever seen. Even the last one, when that guy's running and the army guys are right there watching him do it, they wince at like how brutal he's being, and they don't even know what he did inside. You know what
it's
I mean?
Like we said before, he does with his eye lasers. What sometimes I used to yell Superman. I wanted Superman to do. Like he does it with no inhibition. He just right to it. That's his first instinct. I get upset. I start glowing. You better believe.
I think this is also the first time that you really see the Homelander name and kind of the pun and the undercurrent of what that's supposed to mean happen. Like Homeland Security, like that's supposed to be our borders. Like Homelander is obviously a pun reflection of what was going on at the times when the comic was originally written. So the fact that Homelander is out in foreign soil protecting American interests, protecting the American ideas, literally wrapped in the flag, and and those who are professionals are horrified at what happened. Those who know the rules of engagement and have to abide by all of these things. And so you really see like the way that he was weaponized and the way that the rules matter like on some crazy level. Like war is insane. Obviously, I don't want to go to war, the Civil War. I don't want to be in the Civil War that's coming.
I mean,
It's
you
like he's,
actually get to see. I mean,
it's like
you
he's
actually get to see how the whole test to, you know, you actually get to get a deeper meaning on how he is. I mean, you know, the dude who's isolated. You know, I mean, you can see why he has all these thoughts because it's more in a way that he was raised. You know, I mean, you're getting raised in a lab, and then you start thinking to yourself like, man, I can do all this. It's kind of it's kind of like self-explanatory in there because I mean, if you're left alone, isolated. He wasn't taught morals. I think he was just taught what I can do.
No. Homeboy told him, you know,
Yeah.
you needed to be in a household with loving
You need a
parents
mother.
rather
You need a
than, you
mother.
know, raised in the lab. And then his response is,
Yeah, he wasn't taught
he's like,
morals.
I turned out okay, didn't I?
And the thing is that's really dope. The thing that's dope about that is in the contrast to the loving Ma, Pa, Kent taking in an orphan, you have an orphan child who's being kept at bay. And the one person that he loves, like, he doesn't even recognize that that's not a love at all, that he's like literally like, you're like a gerbil to me. Like you're one of my white mice. You just happen to be the strongest of the breed. And it's really awesome because it motivates Homelander in a way that you can get behind and understand. I don't know, I'm not saying sympathize with, but I'm saying you're understanding why he is so disconnected, but so demanding of being in power and in such need of adoration and love.
Almost a modern Magneto.
or a current day Trump.
No.
Glenn, what did you think?
Well, yeah, no, like, you know, I think that, you know, he's been used like, you know, as kind of like in comparison, you know, not want to get too political here, but to today's political climate, right? Like this dude above the rules, or he sees himself above the rules and just causing chaos, right? Or just doing pretty much whatever they fucking want. And professionals are wincing, right? Like the Navy SEALs, they're wincing. They're like, hey, dude, like, hey, we got rules here. We got checks and balances. And here comes this dude, you know, in this case, Homelander, to show like, hey, for people like me, the rules mean shit. Like they don't mean anything, right? Like rules are nothing, you know. And it's just kind of interesting to see like the comparisons to you know, to Trump, right? Like it's just like the same fucking shit.
Like when Trump was like, all right, what we need a distraction. Let's just shoot a couple missiles over there. And they're like, we just don't shoot missiles over there, sir.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, but the button's right here.
The button's right here, look.
The button's right there.
But you know, then they retaliated and soldiers got brain injuries. And so, I mean, obviously that's code for something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I don't know if I don't want to get too political, but yes, I think that the abuse of power with someone who's got the mind of a child who's demanding love is very parallel to our current leadership.
Correct. What you just said right there, Strutter. I mean, Homelander is a man-child. Magneto is more militant and it's for his people. Like he won't mess with you as long as you don't mess with his people. Homelander's a little bit different.
At least we can say Magneto experienced some hardships, though. Magneto experienced specific hardships that led to his.
I would like to go on record as saying that was a terrible analogy, and I will delete everything related to it. Please proceed.
To which one?
Magneto?
Yeah.
Oh,
you know, well, again, like he's kind of like, and I feel like the soups in this show are a good comparison to like, you know, the hyper rich individuals we have now, right? Like they all pretty much just do whatever they want. They all like Homelanders. Like, you know, he cares only about his own, right? So he's just a petulant, you know, he still has that mentality of a child, but he has these amazing fucking powers and he's just, you know, he's petulant. He's a petulant child, right? But, you know, the thing about him is that you kind of understand why he is that way. You get it. Logically, it makes sense. He had no upbringing. It's just interesting that, like, in comparison to other villains in recent past, like Loki and Killmonger and Magneto, like, you kind of root for them in a sense, right? Like, you're like, yo, I get it. You could kind of get behind their cause of what drives them. But in this case, like, he's so heinous. He's so off kilter and stuff that, like, it's hard rooting for him. Where you're like, yo, he has a point. Humans are trash. Like, it's really difficult, even though you understand.
Because of like some of those, unlike some of those other characters you just named, we don't have this backstory where he's had this hardship that sets up, you know, the character that makes you feel for him.
Well, the thing is comparing them to, say, Spider-Man being unmasked. Everyone knows who these heroes are.
Right.
But Queen Maeve's the only one who's still keeping up a secret identity rope. And you know, this unmasking obviously is a story cue for later, but it also shows, like, Annie's on the other side still, like, tilting away from, do I need to be this good little person, because she can still walk around and no one recognizes her, and all these things. One edit you can just throw in. The other thing that I thought was interesting, when you see where Homelander is raised and it's just no color and everyone's in white lab coats, and, like, there's this dull teal light kind of coming in.
Some Weapon X shit.
It also gives this foundation of a reason of why he has to be draped in color. Like, why he has to be so gaudy and so bright, and everyone has to look at me.
Because nobody looked at him when he was a baby in that lab. Like, they were just walking by. Just that's dope. I like that.
Nah, that's a great analogy. That's crazy.
The Queen Maeve thing is, like, I kind of felt like she had to protect, you know, her girlfriend, because, I mean, it's not even about protecting herself. Yeah, I feel like she had to protect the other person, because knowing who she is, she was dealing with Homelander. Obviously, her and him had a thing, and if Homelander would have saw that, you know, then he would have got mad about it. And, you know, I mean, you see it in the previous episodes where it's like, you're the only one that understands me. So, of course, Queen Maeve she catches on quick, like, and you know what? I better, you know, just go along with it, because I don't want this dude to know that, you know, kind of women, you know, I want to piss him off, because you piss him off in the slightest way.
And you know what's also crazy is it also then shows it's abuse. Queen Maeve is worried about getting beaten by Homelander. So you have the analogy for Wonder Woman, the strongest icon, being scared of still being in this abusive relationship that's sexual, that's not part of the full scope of their identity. And that's kind of heavy.
I did also like seeing Nakweeb be the new Nitro. You know, basically starting off the Civil War in this reality. You know what I mean? Like, he blows up, and now we have super terrorists, and it turns in anyone's favor who makes weapons. Or
that timing too, right? Like, you know, they had Madeleine up against the wall, and then that shit happens, and it's like
they have that talk. He has that talk with Madeleine in episode 8, where he's like, "Oh, it's pretty convenient, huh? That was me. Yeah, that was me." Like it was just like a 5-year-old, you know, like couldn't even hold it. Had to tell her.
That was some fucking brilliant writing. I do not get juked too often, and I really felt like they were leading up to Madeleine being like, "This is what I was doing to push to get to the 42nd floor. This is what, like, this." And when they did that, I was like, "Oh, like, look at you, TV. I'm 44 years old, and you still give me every once in a while."
Go on with your bad self.
Go on with your bad self. Shit.
They got some tricks.
Telling you, man. That's how I felt when I found out Gossip Girl wasn't really a girl, man. Fucked me up.
You know, that's how you derail.
You messed my whole train of thought up right there.
That was a skill right there, man. That fucking derailed everything.
The scene in episode 7
I was on a Bobby level. That was amazing.
where
I tried, man.
the boys get burned, right?
Yeah.
That was an amazing scene. How each one of them, they're basically, you can see the light bulbs start flickering on. They start falling like dominoes after they realize, oh shit, if he's burned, then I'm burned.
Yeah.
And if he's burned, then I'm burned. And then they're all going to double check and see and then, the panic that sets in when they realize, shit, we're in trouble. It's crazy how Homelander finds out all of these things, and he just knows, like, right? They cut to a scene and he knows, and then he asks these probing questions, right, to let people understand that he knows their secrets without actually telling them, I know your secret, right? So when the whole like I said, the scene with Starlight, or when he's talking to Madeleine, all right, and he's asking her all kinds of questions about you remember that?
I think that what
that
you're pointing
publicist
out
we
is
had, Rebecca Butcher, and he's asking the question. He knows the answers, and he asks these probing questions because I know he feels it's more terrifying and he solicits more fear by doing it that way than coming straight out.
And that's fantastic acting too, because
Yeah.
like those scenes make your skin crawl, bro. Like
Yeah.
you feel this dread, you're like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen? Like,
It's
he's
that smile
like
he gives.
an abusive husband, man. Like that's what he is, bro. Like it's just
It's that smile he gives.
sinister fucking questions, and it like just good acting on.
Greg. I think that you made a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
point right there. No, but Greg, actually, you make a great point in the sense of when you think about it, with them all getting burnt and us just talking about Maeve and a secret identity, their secret identities all get unmasked. Everyone is being unmasked, and part of that is just a story needs to close in the Act 3. But they do an excellent job when you think of like, why does Spider-Man do it? To protect Aunt May. And everyone's now their Aunt May. Like you see why you don't show your secret identity. And that's heroes wear masks, it's unmasking.
Yeah, but then the reverse of that is Annie talking to her mom and realizing she's quite anti-Aunt May, if that's the thing to say. She actually made her everything she is, and even
but her mom gets unmasked. That's
Right.
an unmasking also.
That's very true. Very true.
No, then you start to feel for the suits when you realize that their entire upbringing is manufactured, right? There's nothing natural or organic about their upbringing. It's all manufactured. It's scripted, and they all need therapy after.
But I also think that these episodes show you that the boys themselves are also manufactured and scripted in a way, because Mallory is the one who like kind of created it, right? And then brought the butcher in whatever way she did, and now the butcher's doing the same thing to other people. And even when he calls her on it, she still admits it, and he still does what he does. So it's like that pattern of I'd say brutality, I guess, that pattern of trying to deal with things through violence and not rational ways is progressing, because it keeps passing from person to person. And even the people who are smart enough to know it still become susceptible to it, which is...
I hate that he never tells his people his plan.
There's something else there though, right? Because like, like didn't Mesmer like read his mind or some shit, and then like he had to kill him, right? Like,
oh my gosh!
But they're showing
so like what the fuck does Mesmer see or know, or like is there something there that he shouldn't have seen, or is it just like a violent past? Like what are we seeing, right? Because Butcher is beyond like his wife. Like what is he? What made him Billy the Butcher or whatever, right?
Season 2.
What Greg said just made that click in my head also. He's working on his own plan. Like he doesn't share it with anybody. And that literally parallels with what we were just talking about with Homelander. Except for Homelander's was a surprise for us. So you have your two strongest characters still on the same parallel path. And the thing that's connecting them is obviously Becca projecting forward is like the thing for both of them,
It's basically Batman versus Superman.
I do also, Greg, I do want to bring up something that you said last episode, which is how fucking cool Billy the Butcher is. And Homelander verifies it. in one of these episodes. I think the last episode when he's like, "Man, your heart is beating, but it's not like through fear. Like
Yeah.
it is through
That
anger.
scene
It's a
cemented
different
him for me. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just
Yeah.
like, oh,
You're not afraid.
it's kind of everything we already knew about him is now being validated through Homelander. And Homelander even has a respect and appreciation for him through all that. You know what I mean? In some weird, strange way. Like,
And how does he always show up where everything is? It's like he's got some secret passages in the city that no one else knows about. Like, for instance, Homeboy is talking to Starlight in the park, and that fool just shows up with a gun. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute, how did you get here? You know what I'm saying? And then
Batman tunnels, bro.
Homeboy's taking a piss in the bathroom. He opens the door, and that fool's standing there. And it's like, wait, what is going on? How is Billy the Butcher?
This is basically
badass?
Batman.
It's almost like he has superpowers, man.
Strider said in the comics that it is almost to a level where it's implied they do have powers, but they definitely don't, because it's so almost mystic how they're always there at the right moment, but they don't have.
I see.
So it's like
it's kind of. It's already been like okay, so it's just
it's right. It's writing that.
I haven't read the comic book, so that's why,
spoiler alert. Ed didn't get it quite right, but he's in the right neighborhood. It's good, Ed. You'll be surprised.
I live a block away.
You do live a block away. rounding the corner constantly.
Let's see.
I think Captain America said it best. It goes back to that line when Captain America said is like,
"I'm just a kid from Brooklyn," and that he loves the Dodgers.
No, my bad. Yeah, that too, but no. I was
that was a good one, bro. God damn, good connection.
Iron Man. What Iron Man said to Captain America: everything that you are is in a bottle.
Yeah, it came from a bottle.
So, yeah, he's just in the bottle. I think that applies to here with the suits when they find out that they've been manufactured. So it just goes and make you think about that saying right there, where it's like,
but you know what doesn't come out of a bottle is the ability to play the piano.
Well, yeah, that's
Black Noir killed it.
Yeah. That shit was funny, dude.
Stared him down and just got him off his own piano and just started wrecking it. I do also think that's a funny metaphor for how little he is, like how little he feels and he exudes, but for some reason, as soon as he's there, I don't know if that's a metaphor about savants and stuff like that, but it felt like it.
I thought I had noticed that, and I was like, they just slipped in the music for this episode so smooth, like, because he ends up playing out the tone of the rest of the scene.
Yeah, right.
And so as opposed to having that as like voice of God, angels with trumpets coming down, like he's setting up the foreshadowing for the reveal.
It definitely added a layer onto a character who has zero layers right
Zero storyline.
And it's the
all you know is that he's nigh indestructible. He kicks ass and he plays the piano. That's like
he's so far the only person to kick Chemical's ass. So
for a character that's so bland and he has no story or hardly any story to him, that put some flavor on him. That put at least some flavor to him.
You mean like what's Snake Eyes having a wolf as a pet?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Can you picture Snake Eyes playing the piano? Like, would you ever expect him to play the piano if you saw him on G.I. Joe and you just like, just picture him like, okay, he does ninja stuff. He's a ninja.
He hits me more as like a harpsichord player.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is a harpsichord?
Oh no!
When they snuck onto that Cobra base, Snake Eyes specifically started breakdancing. He's a dancer. He's not a musician. He is a dancer.
Well, I can see that. I mean, you picture Storm Shadow playing the harp.
So let's just go right to the end. The butcher in Madeleine's house and the whole confrontation. What'd you guys see? Say something.
It was just like tense, man. Tense scene, bro. Like it's like, I don't know if you guys have seen Uncut Gems, but it felt like how I felt throughout that whole movie. Like in those 20 minutes in that or 10 minutes in that last scene, bro. Like, what's he gonna do, man? There's a baby here. Me being a father, I'm softy towards babies. I'm like, hide the baby, dude. Like, this fool gonna punt that baby through the roof.
I did not like that
it's
movie.
just like, But like Rob said earlier, like that respect that he showed the Butcher, you know, that's kind of cool. Like it cemented Butcher as a badass that we all thought he was, and you know, but dude's seriously unafraid. Even at the very end, bro, when he fucking grabs her and he reveals the truth to her that, you know, he knows that, you know, again, that probing line of questioning, how he went to that doctor and shit, and he just fucking lights her up, man. Like that's fucking nuts, dude. Just what a badass scene. That's like so well written, how they hide his face and only the eyes light up. It's just like, man, like just beautifully
I was like, oh
done
shit.
scene. Yeah, me too, dude.
I was like, oh shit, TV, you got me twice.
and the light hits her eye, like she turns red for a bit, and I'm like, fuck.
I give them a lot of credit because, like I said, besides the Homelander reveal, Madeleine, Elizabeth Shue just nailed that character. Why would you write that character off? Why would you take Snell off the mound in the sixth when they're pitching fire? And the show doesn't lack for it, but I will say it was a gotcha moment, like the end. It reminded me of like the end of a good Game of Thrones season where you're just like, oh shit.
I was about to say, no, that's funny. That's exactly what I was thinking
Yeah,
about.
like you don't expect them to kill off such a well-written,
they killed Boromir
so quickly. Like, you don't expect them to kill her off so quickly, right? Like you expect her to continue trying to keep a bottle, like, you know, a bottle on the situation. And it's like, man, like that's such a shocker right there at the end. Like, oh shit, like they offed her. All right.
It was definitely a shocker.
Man, they killed Ned Stark.
I mean, I'll say it was a plot twist.
My wife just came in the room with a big spoon and a pot and pan. Said she's gonna make all kinds of noise if I don't.
All right, so I'll close out right now. 3, 2, 1.
Relax.
I ain't signing off till she hits you with the spoon.
Oh, hey man, don't dare her, please don't.
Before we close out, I would like to say I did like that this is a mockery of heroes, and hearing Madeleine say, "What is your end game?" is an obvious mockery to end game. Was pretty funny. Also, the La Bamba music at the end, I wanted to yell Richie. I don't know if you guys did, but on that note, that's always a good ending for me. Editor of San Antonio, can't wait for season 2. Out.
Big Greg, Nino Brown, West Hills, California.
Boba Fresh, San Francisco.
Hey.
Slightly rotund Glenn in Washington. Is that better?
That's punchier. Definitely punchier.
It's punchier.
Nice.
Gonna say the best for last, huh? Yeah, Jay Night Thrasher here from Los Angeles, California. Go Dodgers.